The RNC convention continues. I think, frankly, the Republicans have sent out a very good message. They really needed to cut Biden and the Democrats a new one, as I said yesterday. And it continues. It's a very clear message. The problem is that the message doesn't match the actions. Just last night, we had more violence in Portland. We had violence in Wisconsin, a shooting and a death. And we had violence in other cities. It's not enough. The local police are outmanned. They still have their hands tied behind their backs. The president needs to take action. He could do it during this convention. It would help him a great deal. It would show some real resolve. I also listened to Mike Pompeo from Jerusalem yesterday, the Secretary of State, saying how we have retaliated against China. We haven't retaliated against China. We have done nothing against China. Simply shutting down one consulate in Houston, Texas, for the massive damage caused to this country is not retaliation or retribution or compensation. And compensation is exactly what Freedom Watch is seeking on behalf of the American people. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. See if you qualify for our class action. It's moving ahead. We've attempted to serve the Chinese that are evading service of process. Can you believe that a major country, a major world power, is afraid to receive a lawsuit from Freedom Watch? Instead, they've attacked me in the Chinese communist media. I guess you might say that that media is very similar to the Communist News Network, CNN, which continues to trash the president. But I'll tell you who else is trashing the president. There are people on Fox News that are trashing him. Chris Wallace yesterday took a shot at him because he took some of his speeches and some of the events from the White House, saying that somehow that's improper, unethical, this or that. It's not improper. Franklin Roosevelt did that during World War II, and we're in a crisis right now. There's no reason why the president can't do this from the White House. And Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, is allowed to talk in his personal capacity. Fox News talks out of both sides of its mouth. It tries to lure the liberal viewers during the day and the so-called conservative viewers at night. I don't want to be part of a network that plays it both ways. I want the real news, and that's why it's important that you share this podcast far and wide, which you can find on iTunes, on Spotify, on Roku, on Amazon Fire, on Parler, Parler, on Twitter, on Facebook, at freedomwatchusa.org, at radioamerica.com. Sign up for our Justice League. Sign up for our citizens' class action. Sign up for our citizens' grand juries to hold people like Comey accountable. But now he says he's not a target. Before that, Brennan's not a target to this clown, John Durham, up there in Connecticut, who's simply creating an appearance of doing something at the Bill Barr Justice Department, Puxatani Bill, or Blowhard Bill, as you might want to call him, because no one's being held accountable. And that's why you need a Freedom Watch. It's why you, the people, need to rise up and wage a second American revolution. It's why you need to pre-order my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. It's coming out in October. Get a copy before they're all gone. Because I don't just say like Sean Hannity in his book, which was ghostwritten by his staff. You can pretty much figure that out just by opening up the book and looking at all the credits that are being given. Hannity doesn't have a college education, not that that makes you smart, but his staff writes his monologues. His staff does this. No, I wrote this book myself. And the book gets down to the nitty-gritty of why the three branches of government are corrupt, in particular the federal judiciary, which, as Jefferson predicted, would become despots because they're not elected, and that someday we'd have to shed the blood of patriots in yet another revolution. I don't want to shed the blood of patriots. I want to avoid that. And look at my concrete solutions that are there. Unlike Hannity, I don't say, just vote for Donald Trump. Yes, I want the president to win. I support him. I say that in my personal capacity. But that's not going to solve things. And even if he wins, he's there for only 4 years. What are we going to do after that? This country will be gone with these evil radical leftists today that, frankly, and I don't think it's even a metaphor, are being inhabited by the devil. I would say the Democratic Party, much like radical Islam, and of course they support Islam, is inhabited by the devil. The devil has found a vehicle in these people to destroy this country, to destroy Western civilization, and to destroy the world. Because if this country goes down, the entire world goes down. And we're hanging by a thread right now. Now, this Republican convention makes you feel better. They're putting forth a good message, not the politicians, but the various people who are coming forward to tell their stories. They're doing an excellent job. The problem is that words are not backed up by deeds. And that's what we need right now. And we need it from the American people. We cannot depend on the politicians. The past is a prologue. They're, in effect, trying to sell their vote. And yes, I want Trump to win. But on the other hand, this is not going to solve our problems. So please, go to freedomwatchusa.org. Sign up for our Justice League. Pre-order my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry of Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, the Communist News Network, and the rest of them, and join us to wage a second American revolution. We will hold the Comeys accountable. We will hold the Brennans and Clappers accountable, the Obamas, the Bidens, in our citizens' grand juries. Watch the movie Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner and see how in the Old West, the people had to mete out justice. We need to do that again because we have no legal system. The legal system is almost totally corrupt, top to bottom. I can tell you that as a lawyer of 43 years. Unless you're on equal footing, if you're dealing here with a high-profile political case, if you get in front of these federal judges and you get the wrong federal judge because he or she has been nominated by a president of a different ideology, you can forget it. They got there through contributions, political campaign contributions. They pay back the people that get them their jobs. They're yes men, just like the judges on the court of St. James with King George III were yes men. And that's why the colonialists had to rise up, the founding fathers, and wage a revolution and set up their own legal system. But now the legal system has been corrupted. And that's why we, the people, must now do it for ourselves. God bless you. God bless your family. God save America. And go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com or BooksAMillion.com or BordersBooks.com and purchase a pre-ordered copy of It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. I'm enlisting you in our citizens' army who will wage a peaceful and legal, successful American revolution for the second time. I'll be back tomorrow with another special edition of our podcast. Until then, thank you for listening to me.